Boy, did we pick the right time to start a sports station. For those of you who tuned into the team 1450 AM KNOT yesterday, you got to hear Shea Gilgeous-Alexander go on a tear, scoring 15 points in the final 4.5 minutes to push Oklahoma City past Indiana 111-104 in Game 4 of the NBA Finals. It was one of those come-from-behind wins that makes following the postseason of any sport just that much more exciting. I mean, when it looked like the Pacers were going to own this series, go up 3-1, Gilgeous-Alexander, well, he did what an MVP should do. And he said, "Get on my back, boys. I'm taking you all to the promised land." You think LeBron James has the willpower to do something like that? Of course he doesn't. He'd just get all frowny-faced and he'd whine and go, "Well, his team isn't playing the way I want him to, and it's gonna make me cry." So now, instead of what could have been a one-sided finals, the series is tied 2-2, and the tension level is ramped up. And even though we're not carrying it, the Stanley Cup playoffs are kind of mirroring the NBA Finals. Thursday night, Florida went up 3-0 in the first period of Game 4, and Edmonton, I don't know, the first period, they were kind of like, are we supposed to be playing hockey here? So it looked like the Panthers are going to go up 3-1 and turn the finals into a ho-hum affair. Then all of a sudden the Oilers came back. They tied it up. They sent the game into overtime, and that's where Leon Draisaitl set an NHL record with his 4th overtime goal in the postseason. Edmonton wins the game, and now series is tied 2-2 and has gotten way more exciting. And getting back to what we were doing on the team 1450 AM yesterday, the College World Series kicked off, and we had a pretty darn exciting game to start the proceedings. We had the U of A taking on Coastal Carolina. A lot of back and forth in that game, but unfortunately, if you're a Wildcat fan, the bullpen let him down. Garrett Hicks, at first it looked like this guy was channeling Randy Johnson energy, just mowing down one batter after another. But then the Chanticleers got to him. Then Tony Pluto, who's one of the top closers in all of NCAA baseball, he comes in and he can't shut the door. But hey, even the best have a bad day, and sometimes you pick a bad day to have a bad day. Kind of like Mariano Rivera did in the 2004 American League Championship Series against the Boston Red Sox. Back when Major League Baseball was actually fun to watch. Anyway, that led to a 7-4 loss to the U of A. Now, they're still in the World Series. They'll be taking on Louisville in an elimination game tomorrow at 11 a.m., and we will have that game for you on 1450 AM KNOT, along with Coastal Carolina versus Oregon State at 4 p.m. And we also have today's College World Series games on the team. Murray State versus UCLA at 10:40 a.m. and LSU versus Arkansas at 3:40 p.m. So tune in and check it out. Even if you're not a fan of any of the teams involved, sometimes it's just cool to check out games simply as a sports fan, especially when you've got a really good broadcast team calling the action like we had in yesterday's U of A Coastal Carolina game. Can't remember their names, but I thoroughly enjoyed listening to them. The play-by-play guy especially. Guy after my own heart. Really knew how to make the game exciting. A big play happened, and he got amped up for it. And that got me amped up, which is what you're supposed to do as a play-by-play guy, especially on radio, since you don't have any visuals. Just a voice setting the stage and painting the picture, which honestly, that's why a lot of times I prefer listening to games on radio instead of watching them on TV or paying outrageous fees to stream them. And I get to enjoy some really outstanding announcers who really know how to maintain the interest level in the game and really bring it to life. Guys like, hockey, for example, guys like Tim Saunders, who does the Philadelphia Flyers games, John Walton with the Washington Capitals, Joe Bowen, Mr. Holy Mackinac from the Toronto Maple Leafs, and, well, when he was still with us, the legend Mike Lang from the Pittsburgh Penguins. Even though, as a Flyers fan, I despise the Penguins with every fiber of my being, but I still loved listening to Mike Lang call a game, doing stuff like, Malkin passes it to Brian Rust. Rust shoots. He scores! Get in the fast lane, Grandma. The bingo game's about to start. Or another one of my faves, the late, great Rick Genere from the Buffalo Sabres with stuff like, Jack Eichel shoots. He scores! Top shelf, right where Mommy hides the cookies. Or his classic line that I sometimes bring out in my own broadcast, but I do give Rick Genere credit, but he goes, and we are going to overtime. And these are guys who make games exciting and fun, which is how it's supposed to be. And they give me inspiration for how I do my play-by-play. You want to convey that excitement at the right time. Guy makes a great catch, hits a big home run, gets a pick six, knocks down a buzzer beater. You want to be ramped up for that. And I remember a couple times I posted on a baseball forum about some of Joe Buck's home run calls and playoff and World Series games and how his delivery for him was kind of flat. And that's when the new breed of baseball fan comes in, the ones who, along with worshiping analytics and showing disdain for anyone who dares criticize all the changes Major League Baseball has undergone over the past 3 or 4 years, apparently they also hate the concepts of fun and excitement. And they go, he's not supposed to scream. He's supposed to be professional. Who wants to hear guys scream on the air? It's like, well, excuse me for not wanting to have a sterile broadcast. To me, a good broadcaster enhances the game experience. And that's what we had in that game with the U of A Wildcats and the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers yesterday. And I'm sure that will continue throughout the College World Series. So looking forward to listening into more games of that. By the way, in case you're wondering about the Coastal Carolina mascot and going, what the heck is a Chanticleer? I got you covered. Now, this is a passage from my book, You're Called the What? Weird, Funny, and Dumb Team Names. A Chanticleer is a rooster, specifically the name of a fictional rooster that appears in the classic collection of stories, The Canterbury Tales by Geoffrey Chaucer. So now you know. And as they say, knowing is half the battle. All right, folks, 928-541-1016, number to call here on the Tri-City Sports Roundup. And, well, as you may have guessed, we do have another top 10 list for you here today as we keep on rolling with our summer top 10 list here on the show. A couple weeks ago, we started off with the top 10 local freshmen of the year. By the way, our number one local freshman of the year, Justin Sherrington, named an NJCAA All-American. Congratulations to him, going to the University of Houston to continue his baseball career. Last week, we did top 10 local teams of the year. Number one team, of course, the Prescott girls track and field team, who won the state championship. Today, it is the top 10 local coaches of the year. And just so you're aware, it's not necessarily coaches who win a championship, put up a really great record. Sometimes you throw in those coaches who, while they may not have won a championship, they really turned their team's fortunes around. They led their team to a lot more success than people probably thought would be possible at the start of the season. So, who makes the top 10 list this year? Well, let's find out. Let's get started here with number 10. It was his first season leading this team, and it was a bit of a struggle out of the gate as they went 1-3 at their season opening tournament. But the team turned it around quickly and racked up the wins. Not only did they win, they blew out one opponent after another. The team quickly bought into their new coach's philosophy, and he did a great job handling the lineup and knowing how every player could benefit the team. That resulted in a 17-6 overall record, the Grand Canyon Region Championship, and the number 3 seed in the state tournament. It also got him named the Region Coach of the Year. While his team may have suffered an early exit in the state tournament, his first season as skipper will go down as a very successful one. Congratulations to Jason Hutchins of the Prescott baseball team, the Tri-City Sports Roundup number 10 Local Coach of the Year. Next, number 9. He led his squad to many successful campaigns in the CalPAC Conference, but this past season, they would have to contend with teams in a more talented conference, the GSAC. Could they do it? The answer was yes. Not only did he rely on his core group of talented upperclassmen, he also knew how to best utilize his younger talent and maintain that strong team culture to carry them through the day. All that work resulted in a 15-3-3 overall record for the club, as well as their first Great Southwest Athletic Conference title. His efforts got him named the Conference Coach of the Year. No doubt this team will continue to do well under his guidance this coming season. Congratulations to Todd Poitras of the Embry-Riddle women's soccer team, the Tri-City Sports Roundup number 9 Local Coach of the Year. Before we go to break, we're going to give you number 8. Some might think her job was easy with 2 of the top scorers in the state on her roster, but being successful means more than just relying on 2 players. It also means more than just filling out the starting lineup and picking which players come off the bench to help the cause. It means creating good chemistry and instilling confidence in your players that they can overcome any challenge and stand up to any opponent. That's exactly what this coach did, and it really showed in their Elite 8 game of state with Flagstaff. While they might have lost, they overcame a 10-point deficit late in the contest and came up just a few points short. No doubt that will help her continue to build up their confidence for next season and hopefully push them further at the state tournament. Congratulations to Jamie Johnson of the Prescott girls basketball team, the Tri-City Sports Roundup number 8 Local Coach of the Year. All right, folks. Again, 928-541-1016 to call up here on the show. And maybe you want to call up and say, hey, good picks for that top 10 list, John. Or maybe you want to call up and say, John, you have no idea what you're doing with this top 10 list. Anyway, folks, we welcome all calls. Feel free to call in. We're going to take a break right now. We come back. We're going to keep rolling on with our top 10 local coaches of the year. Who else made the list and who grabbed that number 1 spot for the 2024-2025 Scholastic Sports Year. We'll all find out on the other side of the break. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back to the Tri-City Sports Roundup. John Rust with you here. For those of you on the radio side, yes, that was not a mistake in our bumper rotation. I actually do have a couple pieces of classical music in there, including the end of Stravinsky's Firebird Suite, which is just flippin' awesome. You know what? If you're a metal fan, you also dig some classical music too, because I did see a documentary saying that metal does have some of its roots in classical music. Anyway, enough of talking about music. We got to get back to our top 10 local coaches of the year list, and we're at number 7. His first year as top man was a rough one as his team finished 8-19. Some may have thought this season would be a rough one too with so many freshmen on the roster, but he and his coaching staff knew exactly what they were doing in the recruitment process and got freshmen who could immediately step on the court and make a difference. Combined with some solid veterans, this squad turned around their fortunes and qualified for the GSAC tournament. In the end, they finished with an overall record of 13-15, one heck of a turnaround from the year before. The other GSAC coaches were so impressed, they voted him the Conference Coach of the Year. Expect even more wins from this guy's team this coming season. Congratulations to Ben Tucker of the Embry-Riddle men's basketball team, the Tri-City Sports Roundup number 7 local coach of the year. And let's find out a little more about what made Coach Tucker so successful this season. Let's talk a little bit more about our number 9 coach of the year, Todd Poitras. On the line with us right now, we have Phil Hess. He is the athletic director for Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. Hey, Phil, good morning, and thanks for joining us.
Morning, John. Hey, I'm still intrigued by that whole classical music thing with you.
well, maybe I'll dedicate like one segment of a show sometime to talk about the similarities between classical music and metal.
I'd love to hear that.
All right. Well, hey, we'd love to hear you talk a little more about Ben Tucker. Again, his second year at the helm of the Embry-Riddle men's basketball team, and just one heck of a turnaround from him. Such an impressive turnaround. Like I said, his fellow coaches in the GSAC named him the Conference Coach of the Year. So what was it about Ben's second season with the Riddle men's basketball team that made him so successful?
Well, I think it's just like any new coach. You know, it takes a while to get used to his players and to the conference and to Embry-Riddle and all that kind of stuff. And Ben just works so hard. He's just a tireless worker in the office and on the recruiting trail. And you saw it paid off this year. You know, we had, the freshman of the year in the conference and Noah Grift, and his recruiting has just knocked it out of the park. And now that he's got his players on the roster and they're getting a lot of minutes in the game, and the other guys that were left over from Coach Fundalevich have bought into his system, and it's paying dividends now.
In fact, I was going to mention about the recruiting, kind of like I said in my monologue, where he just had so many freshmen on his team. But again, that just goes to show just what an eye for talent Coach Tucker and his staff have, where, they not only brought in freshmen, but freshmen who are actually very talented and, weren't very intimidated by their first year at the, at the collegiate level.
No, these guys were really good basketball players coming in, right? And as freshmen, of course, they're going to have their ups and downs learning the college game and getting used to all the stuff and our academics at Embry-Riddle too, as far as that goes. But, about halfway through the season, you could see that it was starting to click with those guys, and they're getting a lot of minutes on the floor, and they're starting to get more comfortable as the year goes on. And then, we hit that big buzzer game-winning shot at the buzzer against the Masters, and it was a good year for them to learn and grow, and I expect big things of them next year.
Yeah, and then of course Todd Poitras, who no stranger to our list, he's been on our top 10 local coaches of the year list before. But Todd, he certainly had a bit of a challenge this year. Yeah, he had a lot of his big name players back for this past season, but they were in a brand new conference. The competition level was ramped up quite a bit. But credit to Coach Poitras and getting his ladies ready to face that competition, and in their first year in GSAC competition, winning the conference championship.
Yeah, Todd's done a wonderful job building such a great program for us at Embry-Riddle with the women's soccer team. It's to say he's just got it figured out. He just does a great job year after year after year, bringing in great recruits for us. And the challenge this year, you're right, John, was facing the challenge of a new conference, and that team stepped up to the plate and got it done. And, they're already at the top of the conference now, and they've got the target on their back this year, and it's going to be interesting to see how they respond to that. But I'm sure we're going to have another great year with that team.
And, it's not just bringing in talent. I know all these years that I've been covering Embry-Riddle women's soccer, doing play-by-play for their games, the one thing I notice is along with the talent, he's also able to bring in young ladies who just do a great job of gelling with one another and creating really good team chemistry. And some people may overlook chemistry. I'm not one of them. It's like if you want a really good team, a winning team, you got to have players who are going to get along with one another and have each other's backs. And it seems like Todd does a great job year after year of instilling that kind of culture.
No, I think that's one of the keys that Todd's really good at, is finding these young ladies that will come in here and gel and become a good team. And I think he and Liz Theriot, his assistant coach too, do a great job once they get here of continuing to build that team camaraderie and that team spirit, if you will, that really bonds the team together. And I think they're one of the best ones that we have at doing that kind of stuff, and it pays dividends on the field.
All right. Phil Hess, Athletic Director for Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. I want to thank you very much for joining us here on the Tri-City Sports Roundup, talking a little more about our number 7 local coach of the year, Ben Tucker from the basketball team at Riddle, and our number 9 coach of the year, women's soccer's Todd Poitras. Phil, have yourself a good day.
Thanks. You too, John. Appreciate it.
All right. Again, Phil Hess, Athletic Director at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. Let's get back to our top 10 list. We're at number 6. His team went through growing pains the year before, but he always preached about the process. And with 7-on-7s and practices and weight training during the summer, he got them to buy in, and boom, it pay off in 2024. With a combination of great players and a great coaching staff, this team not only had its share of blowouts, but overcame adversity to win some hotly contested games. In the end, it got them to the Elite 8 of the state playoffs and an overall record of 10-2. Along with the Grand Canyon Region Championship for his team, he was also named the Region Co-Coach of the Year. Even though a lot of his big-name guys graduated, with his track record, don't be surprised to see his team in the playoff mix again. Congratulations to Cody Collette of the Prescott football team, the Tri-City Sports Roundup number 6 local coach of the year. Next, number 5. He knew he had the talent. It was just a matter of putting them in the right order, which he did. He also wasn't afraid to work them hard and also made sure that no matter how many games they won, they never got overconfident. It all worked out in the end for his bunch as they ended the season as state runners-up and the Grand Canyon Region champions with an overall record of 14-2-1. He was also honored for his accomplishments by being named the Grand Canyon Region Coach of the Year. While several of his girls who had key roles in their successful season have graduated, he's always done a good job filling such holes in the past, so this coming season will likely be no different. So you can expect another run at state. Congratulations to Paul Campazano of the Prescott girls soccer team, the Tri-City Sports Roundup number 5 local coach of the year. Now for number 4. Yes, he had 2 of the best players in program history on his roster, but he also had other talented players in the starting lineup and was skilled at sending in guys off the bench to contribute at the right time. With his easygoing attitude, he molded them into a complete team that was not only fun to watch, but fun to be around. That translated to one of the best seasons in team history. They made it to the Final Four of state, won the Grand Canyon Region title for the 2nd year in a row, and finished with an overall record of 22-7. It also got him named the Grand Canyon Region Coach of the Year. He'll have his work cut out for him this coming season with so many of his players having graduated, but knowing him, don't be surprised to see him put another quality team on the court. Congratulations to Travis Stedman of the Prescott boys basketball team, the Tri-City Sports Roundup number 4 local coach of the year. Next, it's number 3. He's a big believer in ohana, the Hawaiian word for family. He brought that philosophy to this team, and they thoroughly embraced it. That combination of great team chemistry and great talent resulted in the best season in the short existence of this program. They made it to the Final Four of state for the first time in team history, won the Black Canyon Region Championship, and ended the season with an overall record of 18-3. That earned him some big awards. Not only was he named the Region Coach of the Year, he was also named the Co-4A Conference Coach of the Year. He's created a winning formula, one that will carry over to next season despite all the graduation losses from this season's squad. Congratulations to Ephraim Bernard, Coach Bernie of the Prescott boys volleyball team, the Tri-City Sports Roundup number 3 local coach of the year. Now we're at number 2. In a sport like this one with so many diverse events, you need to bring in quality assistant coaches who can motivate and elevate your athletes. That's exactly what he did. While he may come off as a low-key guy, he put together one heck of a team and kept everyone focused on the ultimate goal, a state championship. He worked them hard, made sure they went to invitationals where they were guaranteed great competition, and it paid off in the end. His team put in fantastic performances at the state meet and brought home the Division III state championship. Along with that, 4 of his athletes will compete in the college ranks this coming season. Despite all the holes from graduation, no doubt he will reload for next season and continue this squad's success. Congratulations to Michael Zeminski of the Prescott Girls Track and Field Team, the Tri-City Sports Roundup number 2 local coach of the year. So, folks, we've come to that time. We've come to the time where we unveil our number 1 local coach of the year. Who's it going to be? Well, I'm going to keep you in suspense for a little bit longer because we got some commercials to play here. But on the other side of the break, we will unveil our number 1 local coach for the 2024-2025 Scholastic Sports Year. We'll be back right after this. We are back here on the Tri-City Sports Roundup. John Rust with you here, and we have our top 10 local coaches of the year. Before we get to our number 1 pick, let's review numbers 10 through 2 on our list. Number 10, Jason Hutchins of Prescott Baseball. Number 9, Coach Todd Poitras of Embry-Riddle Women's Soccer. Number 8, Jamie Johnson of Prescott Girls Basketball. Number 7, Ben Tucker of Embry-Riddle Men's Basketball. Number 6, Cody Collette of Prescott Football. Number 5, Paul Campazano from Prescott Girls Soccer. Number 4, Travis Stedman from Prescott Boys Basketball. Number 3, Ephraim Bernard, or Coach Bernie if you prefer, from Prescott Boys Volleyball. Number 2, Michael Zeminski from the state champion Prescott Girls Track and Field Team. And now, number 1. Not only was he a first-year coach, He was a first-year coach for a team that was playing in its first year, and it was for a sport that most of his players had never played before. But he got them to learn the ropes quickly and showed them how much fun it could be. He also believed that they could do a lot more than simply be competitive, and he was right. This brand new team surprised everyone by making it all the way to the state championship game, falling to St. Mary's by just 3 points. Under his leadership, this squad finished as state runners-up, champions of the Mountain Sky region, and had an overall record of 15-1. His fellow coaches were so impressed by those accomplishments, they not only voted him Coach of the Year for the region, but the 4A Conference Coach of the Year. Talk about putting a stamp on a brand new team. Congratulations to Ryan Hart of the Prescott Flag Football Team, the Tri-City Sports Roundup 2024-2025 #1 Local Coach of the Year. Now let's find out a little more about Coach Hart. And well, all of the coaches that got on our top 10 list for this year from Prescott. We're going to the phones right now, and we are talking to Missy Townsend, the athletic director at Prescott High School. Hey, Missy, good morning, and thank you for joining us.
Good morning, John. Excited to talk about these awesome coaches.
Oh, and in fact, before we get to that, we got to talk about one of the things that you did when you did the school's yearly awards, where, it was kind of easy for, the male and female athletes of the year with Uriah Tenet and Violet Williams. When it got to coaches of the year, you had so many of them winning championships and making it far in state that you couldn't really pick a #1. You just said anyone who won a region championship or was coach of the year, you got the award.
Yeah, it was an amazing year for the athletic department at Prescott High School this year, and our coaches and teams were just outstanding. And it's the first time that I've ever done it where we've done awards, and I just said, you know what, we always vote on it as a department, but there were just so many close ones and ties, and I just said, you know what, all of these coaches are so deserving, and this, out of all the years I've been doing it, this was the year that I think that they all just deserve. If I could have given one to every one of my coaches, I would have given one to every single one of them, because I truly believe that they all have done amazing things with their programs.
Well, talking about amazing things, and on this list, the one who kind of stood out above everyone, Ryan Hart from the Prescott Flag Football Team. And to me, one of the reasons why I gave him #1, along with finishing as state runner-up, this is a guy. He took over. He didn't take over. He became the coach of a team that had never played before. It was their debut season, and most of the girls who came onto his team when they first got there, they're like, how do you play this game? For someone to take a team like that, build them from scratch, and get them within 3 points of a state championship in their first season, that really speaks to what kind of special coach Ryan Hart is.
Yeah, Coach Hart and his staff were tremendous. They really, from early on, I think the fundamentals of teaching them the game, something that was exciting for these girls, they had fun. That team always was having fun, and they just felt like a group that really bonded right from the start, and that happened because of their coaches, the culture that they built there, Ryan's passion for flag football, and just his ability to bring all of that together just created this amazing atmosphere for these players to really succeed. And he had some very athletic girls that are multi-sport athletes in that team, which I think contributed to their success as well. But overall, it was a special team, a special staff, and a special season, and definitely one for the record books at Prescott High School.
Yeah, and then, of course, you look at the rest of our top 10 list, and pretty much dominated by Prescott this year, which goes to show just what an incredible sports year it was for Badgerland. But you look at the #2 coach of the year, Michael Zeminski, led the girls track and field team to a state championship. And, when it comes to track and field, it's not just you being a coach and teaching your athletes how to do the game and building chemistry. Kind of like I said in the monologue, you look at a sport like track and field, you got so many different events. You got to bring in, really good coaches to coach all those different events. And it looks like Michael Zeminski did that, where he built a really good coaching staff around him to help that team win the state championship.
Absolutely. Those coaches on the track and field team have been working with these athletes for the last several years. And they knew that this year was their year to try and go after it and try and get it with everyone healthy. And again, the multi-sport participation by those athletes I'm a firm believer that it plays a role in their successes in all their sports. And to see these kids coming off their winter and fall seasons into spring, and the coaches knew how to schedule, and they knew how to strategically make it so that athletes were competing to get points in certain events, and everyone played it right, and the athletes just absolutely performed.
And then you got Ephraim Bernard, Coach Bernie, our number 3 local coach of the year. Just did a tremendous job. Again, one of the youngest athletic teams at Prescott High School. Boys volleyball, I think, has been around barely for a decade. And Coach Bernie, kind of has that laid-back Hawaiian Samoan attitude and everything. But boy, oh boy, when he preaches that ohana, I mean, both the boys and girls volleyball teams really buy into that, and it certainly paid off for the boys this year with the Final Four appearance.
Absolutely. I mean, again, Coach Bernie's been building this program up, both the boys and girls, for the last several years, and he's definitely easy to want to follow. He's easy to want to be part of a program. Kids flock to him because he is super genuine. He is super family oriented. He pushes them. Bernie will get those boys practicing, and they'll want to practice more. They'll literally request him to have more practices because they're having fun. They love the team. They love the sport, and that's all because of the coaching staff.
And I'm going to combine our number 4 and number 8 here, because number 4 coach of the year was Travis Stedman from boys basketball. Number 8 was Jamie Johnson from girls basketball. Both of them had incredible 1-2 punches. Coach Stedman with Uriah Tenet and Zane Gall. Coach Johnson with Bella Apt and Addie Priscindero. And you think, anyone could coach a team like that when you've got, powerhouse players like that. But it takes more than just 2 players to go as far as they did. You have to have a whole team around them to be successful, and that's exactly what Coach Stedman and Coach Johnson did, not just relying on those 2 players of theirs, but building an entire team around them to be successful.
Yeah, Coach Stedman's been working, and his coaching staff have been working on this for a long time, and it's some of the things that a lot of people don't really recognize is the years, the summers, the time, the off season, the building of freshman level, JV level, varsity level. I mean, the success of these teams didn't happen overnight, and Coach Stead and his staff, I mean, you're right, there were one of the best athletes that ever come through Prescott High School with Uriah and Zane both. But that program has been building for years, and they were tremendous.
And of course, like I said, Jamie Johnson kind of in the same boat there. But I think what Coach Johnson did a really good job was instilling confidence in her players that they can compete against anyone in the state.
Yeah, and that's huge. I mean, it had been over almost a decade since our girls basketball team had a really winning season. Jamie had brought that group together in the last 3 years. This year was hands down. I couldn't believe the transformation that those girls have come through. And it does require some confidence. It's hard when your program hasn't found success in the past, and then you start doing good. But when you come across something that's difficult, it's easy to fall back on we're not good enough. And Jamie's really been able to help this team recognize their self-worth and their confidence and their ability to now this weekend, they're playing down in Section 7, one of the biggest and best tournaments in the state of Arizona, and are going into the semifinals later today.
All right. And kind of rounding out the list here, we had a couple of veteran coaches for you. Paul Campazano was our number 5 coach from girls soccer. Coach Cody Collette from Prescott football, number 6. And one of your newbies, Coach Hutch Hutchins, our number 10 coach of the year for Prescott baseball. Just talk about how much the 3 of them meant to their teams.
John, it sounds corny, I know, but I love these coaches so much. I feel like I could talk about each one of them forever because they're such amazing individuals, and they do such wonderful things for our kids and our athletes and our school. Paul, we're just so lucky. He does an amazing job with those girls soccer players in a sport that's very difficult because it's a sport that's really heavy. Club soccer is a big thing, and all of these girls have been playing for so many years. So to take girls that are coming from different clubs, different things, and all of them are so competitive, and get them to work together as a team and compete at a high level year in and year out. Coach Campuzano does that better than anyone. Coach Collette, what can we say about Coach? He's amazing. What he does with those boys and how he gets that team every year. He always worries that he's not going to be as good as the year before, and every single year he comes back and puts out one of the best teams out there. And he does tremendous things with those boys and getting them to really in the off season probably working as hard as any coach on our campus. And then Coach Hutch, we are so blessed to have him. He was a steal from the Valley, and I got to say, I'm super grateful what he's done with the program in such a short amount of time, what he's done with our facilities, how he's been so easy to work with all of our coaches and myself. He just slipped right in and just felt like part of the family from day one, and we're grateful that he's going to be part of our athletic department and continue to build on his program as well.
All right. Missy Townsend, Athletic Director for Prescott High School. I want to thank you very much for joining us here on the Tri-City Sports Roundup and talking about the plethora of coaches that we had on our top 10 local coaches of the year list, with Ryan Hart from flag football taking the #1 spot this year. Missy, as always, a pleasure to talk to you. Have yourself a good day.
Thank you, John. You too.
All right. Again, Missy Townsend, Athletic Director for Prescott High School. Well, folks, another top 10 list is in the books. And next week, well, of course, we will have another top 10 list. This is one of the more fun top 10 lists, in my opinion. Next week, we are going to have the top 10 local grads at college. What have some of our high school, ex-high school players, what have some of the former Yavapai players been doing elsewhere? Who stood head and shoulders above the rest? Well, we're going to find out next week on the Tri-City Sports Roundup. That will be our top 10 local grads at college of the year list. After that show next Saturday, we're actually going to be on hiatus for the next 2 weeks. Our show for June 28th, that's going to be a best of show because I'm taking that whole week off for, I feel like, a well-deserved and much-needed vacation. Then on July 5th, well, that is going to be the Prescott Frontier Days parade. KYCA will be live streaming that parade. So since we got our live streaming equipment going to be wrapped up with that, we're just going to take July 5th off from Tri-City Sports Roundup. We'll just run a best of show there. So we've got a 2-week hiatus coming up. But, of course, after that 4th of July weekend, we will be back on the air live, and we'll be plunging back into our top 10 lists. In fact, our first live show in July, that's going to be the top 10 local games of the year. So you got that to look forward to. You've also got College World Series action to look forward to today and tomorrow on our sports station, The Team, 1450 AM, KNOT. So, well, kind of like I said at the beginning, great exciting game yesterday between the Wildcats and the Chanticleers, or fancy name for Rooster, I guess you can call them. So hopefully we'll have plenty of more exciting games in the College World Series to follow, and you can hear it all on 1450 AM, The Team, KNOT. All right, that's going to do it for our show, folks. Healthline with Dr. David Hancock is next. Then we got AZ Drive Time at 10, and then we have Eye on Prescott at 11. Thank you very much for joining us. See you again next week.